Ever wonder what gamers are actually saying? Well, today we're jumping headfirst into that world. We're going to decode the fast, funny, and, let's be honest, sometimes confusing language of gaming, all with a little help from Natalie Lane's fantastic new book, The Gaming Slang Handbook. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so Natalie Lane kicks off her book with this amazing idea. She says, if the internet is the modern town square, gaming is the city where everyone eventually ends up. And that's such a perfect way to think about it, right? We're not talking about some niche hobby in a corner of the internet. We're talking about a massive, sprawling digital city. It's got its own culture, its own rules, and you guessed it, its very own language.
So just how big is this city we're talking about? Get this. The population is over 3 billion people. I mean, let that sink in. That's way bigger than the audience for film, for music, even for sports. This is a truly global community, and they're all speaking the shared, constantly changing dialect. Which leads to the big question, right? What are they really saying? You hear these words thrown around, gank, cracked, sweaty, and if you're not in the loop, it sounds like absolute nonsense. So that's our mission in this explainer, to decode all of it and figure out what's really going on behind the words. All right, first stop on our tour. We're going to look at the rules of the road. Basically, why this language even exists. Because, it's not just random. This stuff evolved for a reason, almost out of pure necessity. The biggest, most important reason? Speed. Simple as that. When you're in a game, decisions are made in milliseconds. You literally don't have time to type out full sentences. Like Natalie Lane says, slang becomes survival. So when you see things like AFK for away from keyboard or a quick GG for good game, that's not people being lazy. That is pure efficiency. It's about getting crucial information across without missing a single beat. And then there's teamwork. You've got to coordinate, right? In the middle of all that chaos, clear, fast communication is what holds a team together. So when your teammate yells, push left or rotate, they're not just making small talk. Those are tactical commands. This is where slang literally becomes the strategy that can mean the difference between winning and losing. Okay, and we can't forget about the humor and, well, the drama of it all. Gaming culture can be super theatrical. When someone says a player is cracked, they're not actually worried about their mental state. It's all playful exaggeration. The slang becomes a kind of performance, a way to amp up the highs and lows of a game and have some fun with it. And finally, and this one's huge, it's about belonging. Knowing the slang it's like a secret handshake. It's how you show you're part of the club. It tells people what games you play, what communities you're in, basically that you're an insider. The language isn't just for talking. It's a badge of identity that says, hey, I get it. I'm one of you. Okay, so we've got a pretty good handle on why this language exists. Now let's talk about the where. Sticking with that city metaphor, the gaming world has all these different neighborhoods, and each one has its own local dialect. And the biggest split? It's all about the platforms. And this creates two really distinct cultures. You've got PC gaming, which is all about technical mastery, tweaking your settings, and that mouse and keyboard precision. That's where you get super technical slang about FPS and ping. Then you have console culture. That's more about accessibility, community, and that classic couch co-op vibe. And that's where we get terms like screen peeking or the classic pass the controller. But you know what's really supercharging all of this today? Streaming. Platforms like Twitch and TikTok are basically slang accelerators. Think about it. A streamer says something like, no shot, out of pure shock. That moment gets clipped, and within hours, it's a global catchphrase. And don't even get me started on the visual language of Twitch emotes. Little icons like POG for hype or Kappa for sarcasm. They communicate an emotion instantly, way faster than typing ever could. All right, let's zoom in even closer. So inside these big platform neighborhoods, you've got these smaller, more specialized clubs, or guilds, if you will. We're talking about the different game genres. And man, if you really want to sound like you know what you're talking about, you have to know their dialects. This breakdown really shows how it works. The slang is born directly from what you do in the game. In a super fast-paced first-person shooter, yelling one shot is critical life-or-death information. In a complex strategic MOBA, a gank is a very specific kind of team ambush. And for a massive RPG that takes hundreds of hours, the term grinding perfectly captures that long, repetitive work you have to put in. And that brings us to our final stop on the tour, and honestly, this is the really cool part, a personal phrase book. This is where Natalie Lane's book is just genius. She doesn't just give you the dictionary definition. She explains what someone is really feeling when they say it. Okay, Let's take a classic example, AFK. Now, the literal meaning is super simple, away from keyboard. Easy enough. Someone's just not there. But the context? Oh, the context is everything. Because here's what they're really saying. They're gone, and we are in trouble because of it. See that? There's this whole undercurrent of frustration. It's not just a statement of fact, it's an emotional reaction. Our team is now at a huge disadvantage. Getting that subtext, that's the key to becoming fluent. All right, next up, a huge compliment you'll hear all the time. Cracked. The basic definition, someone is just playing out of their mind. Absolutely incredible skill. But again, it's the subtext that gives it its power. It doesn't just mean you're good, it means you are playing so much better than normal that I am genuinely shocked and amazed. It's one of the highest forms of praise because it's recognizing a truly special performance. And now for the flip side, a very common insult. Bot. This comes from the term for those simple computer-controlled enemies in a game. So yeah, when you call a real person a bot, it's not a compliment. And what they're really saying is pretty blunt. They're playing terribly. It's quick, it's a bit harsh, but it's effective emotional shorthand for that person is playing so predictably and poorly, they might as well be a simple AI. So what does the future look like? I mean, this digital city is always changing, always under construction, and you can bet the language is evolving right there with it. And Natalie Lane's book actually looks at this, pointing to what's next. Like, how is AI going to change how we talk in games? What new slang is going to pop up as new communities form? We're already seeing some of it happen, right? Gaming slang is bleeding into the mainstream on places like TikTok all the time. So after this whole tour, what's the big takeaway? It's this. Gaming slang is so much more than just a list of weird words. It's the living, breathing heart of this massive global culture. It's the secret code for identity. It's the glue that holds these communities together. And that leaves us with one last, kind of big question to chew on. Natalie Lane argues that this language evolves at the speed of instinct. It's driven by pure emotion, speed, and necessity. So if that's true, what does this incredibly creative, fast-moving way of communicating, what does that tell us about where human connection is headed next?